Hi there, I'm Rod Bergeron, and today we're going to do a little bit of intuitive landscape painting, but it's sort of an area that inspires me quite often. It's not very far from where I live, and it's a pretty interesting little piece of landscape because it has this little valley in it that I find really intriguing. Lots of wildlife and stuff in it. I'm just going to put a little bit of darker Payne's gray across the bottom here. And then I'm going to take my #1 watercolor brush that I have sharpened the one end here with an X-Acto knife, and I'm going to scribe into this a little bit. And just like this, put a few trees and a few branches on those trees in here. You know, wherever it is that you want, whatever inspires you. And then I'm going to take this brush and I'm not going to rinse it off or anything, and I'm going to put a little swoop of Payne's gray across here also. All right, now I'm going to rinse this brush out, and I'm going to pick up a whole bunch of this sap green. We're going to put some sap green into these trees and into these trees and across here. Okay, pick up a little bit more sap green for this. It's not too bad. Now down in this bit of a valley down here, there's a little bit of growth that's some dogwood, but we're going to put those in just a second. Okay, so we're going to take this brush, we're not going to rinse it out, we're going to pick up some of this, which is sienna. We're going to drop a little bit of that in here and a little bit across here. Okay, we're just going to basically leave that like that. I'm going to rinse my brush off, take most of the water off it. I'm going to pick up a little bit more sienna pretty intensely. And I'm going to do the same up here, pick up some more sienna, you know, maybe put it in a slightly different angle, like that. All right, back to our little wooden tool. Put some more scribe lines in down here. Okay, cool. All right, now we're going to rinse this brush off. We're going to pick up a whole bunch of yellow ochre. And our yellow ochre is going to go all the way from one side to the other. Okay, so I'm going to pick up as much yellow ochre as I can here, fairly intensely. Okay, you can see how much paint I have on my brush, I think. And I'm going to swoop from one side all the way over to the other. Okay, like that. You can see how I touch that. It immediately starts to come down. Same with this, that Payne's gray starts to go up into that. I'm going to fill my brush up one more time, and I'm going to go across here like that, and look at how that sort of dragged that through there. That's very interesting. Okay, and then we lost some of our color here. You see the color ran out and it ran onto the tape. That's perfectly fine. Let the watercolor do whatever the watercolor is going to do. And you see I just tapped a little bit more yellow ochre on there, and I'm actually going to pick up a little bit more yellow ochre here and here and here. We're going to scribe through that again. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit more yellow ochre down here too. And then I'm going to pick up some, I rinsed this brush off really well, and I'm going to pick up some sienna, and I'm just going to drop some sienna in a few places like that. Maybe a little bit more up here. Okay, we're not going to do too much more than that to it. I got my little bag of salt here. I'm going to put some salt across these trees up in the top up here, a little bit here, a few other places, just a couple of grains. We're not trying to drop, You know, it would only really be a couple of grains of salt in a very few places. All right. As I look at this, I just think there's not quite enough darkness in it. So I'm going to pick up some more Payne's Gray right off the palette on my brush, and I'm just going to touch this in a few places, pick up a little bit more. Just like that. Maybe I'm going to scribe out of a few of these too. All right, I think I'm probably going to leave this now. I say that, and then I pick up the salt, and I'm just going to drop a couple more grains of salt in a few more places, and that's it. Let's let it dry and see what we get. All right, let's have a look at what happened here. I want you to notice, first of all, that I purposely didn't paint in any sky. You know, a very modern way of doing watercolor is we don't put in any sky. It's just a white page. Now, I don't do that very often, but I do like to have some fun with it once in a while. The other thing I want you to notice is that this initial color that we put on here has been pushed way into the background. See this, how it makes this hazy line? It looks like it's way, way off in the distance. And that's a great way to build up depth of field in your painting. And look at these scribe lines that we put in right near the beginning to, you know, to build these trees. And then what the salt has done. Salt does really some magical things to watercolor. And then across the foreground here, where we have these scribe lines on here, and we've really built up a lot of depth of field, again, sort of foreground, midground, you know, and then many, many layers going into the background. And, you know, what happens when we put our mat on here? You know, I just think for me, my work doesn't get any better than that. That's really super, super interesting for me. And I'm going to put my little RB down here. There's links to all the materials and supplies that I use in the description. And there's Amazon links in there for all that stuff. If you'd use that, I would greatly appreciate it. And as always, if you're currently a subscriber, thanks a lot. And if you're not currently a subscriber, please consider subscribing to my channel. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to know where you're from. If you could drop me a comment and let me know where you're watching from, I'd really appreciate it. Thanks for watching today, and I hope you come back again real soon.